Okay, so that's that. And then there was... I also don't think this choice... maybe this choice could have a different... It's going to be a bad end, but maybe it'll be a different bad end. He couldn't just... it's probably going to be the same. Who are we kidding? It's a fake choice. He couldn't just rush in without a plan. A detective needed both a cool mind and a fiery spirit. And the more heated the situation was, the more he needed to stay cool. He could feel the muscles in his legs begin to stiffen. He did his best to slow his racing heartbeat as his mind sought desperately for a way out of this situation. But his eyes remained fixed on Achi, holding that bomb in his arms. Knowing that it could explode at any moment made it almost impossible to think. Yeah, so actually what's interesting is that bomb, the bomb went off when the timer hit 0, but if you think back to the Alphard bomb that was planted in the building in Chicago that killed Jack Stanley's brother Frank, remember that one actually went off with like 30 minutes left or something. Was it 30 minutes? Yeah, 30 minutes I think left it was. So it was actually set to go off well before the time indicated. So yeah, you'd think that would happen maybe here again, but clearly not. Okay. Oh, was it 15 minutes? The harder he tried to calm himself, the more his panic grew. He cursed himself for not leaping into action immediately. He should have acted before thinking. That was the only thing he was good at. And still he stood frozen, staring at Achi. Then he felt the hairs rise up on the back of his neck. White smoke was pouring from an approaching minivan. Is he gonna get run over? That'd be amazing. The vehicle teetered to a stop along the shoulder of the road. Still, the smoke spilled out, roiling from a partly open window. Kano could feel a strange chill in the air. It's the dry ice machine. Is that? Instinctively, he rushed toward it. Okay, so this is actually different. This could be good. It's full of dry ice. Peering through the minivan's windows, he saw a clunky, box-shaped device in the back. It was rumbling fiercely, spitting out an unending mound of white clumps. A dry ice machine. Hey, Kano yelled, banging hard on the door. Open up! By freezing a bomb that used an electronic activation trigger, it was possible to kill the battery cell and deactivate the detonator. This is how they're going to stop it? Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. The explosive ordnance unit used liquid nitrogen. Nitrogen that has been cooled to a liquid state with a temperature below negative 195.8 degrees centigrade Celsius. It can be poured onto explosives to stop the function of components such as the battery cell for the detonator. However, in situations where the surrounding area can be safely secured, it is preferable to destroy the explosive via detonation rather than simply arrest its function. So they're going to throw the bomb into the machine. But maybe dry ice could work as well. Carbon dioxide in its solid state. Because it evaporates at negative 79 degrees Celsius at standard atmospheric pressure, it must be kept refrigerated or it rapidly dissipates into mist. Thus its use in smoke/fog machines. The odds of dry ice being able to stop the detonator of a bomb are quite low. Battery cells do lose electromotive force in a sub-zero environment, but there is no guarantee that this would actually work. So ignore whatever you're about to see, everyone. There were 3 men inside the vehicle. Kano shouted at the one in the driver's seat. I need to borrow that machine! Huh? The man replied in a lethargic drawl. No way, man. We haven't even paid this thing off yet. There was no time to explain or negotiate. Kano was just going to have to take it by force. Yeah, pull your gun on them, man. Pull your gun. Minorikawa! Oh no. Don't tell me Yanagashita's going to show up too, and they're going to help pull out the machine together. And Toyama while we're at it. Hold it right there! Another man appeared suddenly in front of the vehicle. The pushy fellow Kano had run into at the scene of the explosion. You guys are with that Wandering Angels theater troupe, yeah? He said to the van's occupants. Episode 6, the finale. The minivan carrying Tezuka, Bando, and Amo veered wildly through the streets of Shibuya, leaving a trail of white smoke in its wake. The trio, now definitely impaired by oxygen deprivation, came close to causing several accidents. Teetering on the brink of consciousness, they were still trying to reach Endo Electronics when they ran into Kano and his companions instead. After Kano takes the machine off their hands, the three will happily head back to the theater, clean up, crack open some beers, and look back over one long crazy day. He pointed at the dry ice machine. That thing's defective. The guy from the electronics store said he'd refund your deposit. Huh? For real? Yeah, he told me to tell you that the machine has been recalled. We'll bring it back for you, so hurry up and open the door. Yeah, okay. The newcomer helped the three men unload the dry ice machine from the minivan. Then he turned to Kano. They're doing this all, by the way, mind you, in under 2 minutes. Including the whole conversation with Achi. Here, hurry up and take it, he shouted. Right, thanks. Kano wasn't sure what was going on, but he took the machine and ran, pushing it ahead of him across the pavement. Does it have wheels? I guess it must. Yeah, it makes sense. Achi! Hitomi wailed, tears in her eyes. The detective blew right past her, trailing a billowing plume of white smoke in his wake. Please let me make it in time. Please let me make it in time. Please let me make it in time. Kano let loose a wild yell. He ran as fast as his legs would take him toward Achi and the bomb. To be continued. We gotta do the jump to Achi. Damn it! So it's not gonna. So it seems like this is gonna. So this is the good end. Oh, I don't know why. Oh yeah, I am supposed to give out subjects for that. For to be continued. So this is actually how they dismantle it. Damn it. So this is on the verge of GG then. We do have that jump. Was that 7:15? Okay. So the question is, do we go back to get the other two endings? Maybe. Hold on. Actually, this couldn't be good endings, because isn't it bad endings for Jack and Tateno? I intentionally left those as bad end because I was hoping I would get bad ends for everybody. Maybe it will be, actually. It might still be. It's possible you wouldn't get GG unless everyone got to the end alive, maybe? Yeah, we had Tateno get shot by Alfard. I think there was a way to avoid that, but I purposely left that so that it would screw up other people and we could get other bad ends. Okay, we can't even make that jump until I guess we do Achi's side. This is... Oh, there's also a jump to Kano at 1915. Interesting. Wasn't that... We didn't hit a keep out though, so this won't do anything. Is that gonna continue? It's not gonna continue a story, right? Or is it? Because it wasn't a keep out. But Achi only clutched the bomb more tightly. Oh, okay. So yeah, that was useless. This is before the yeah, that's before the dry ice machine shows up. All right, so we don't want to take that jump. Okay, can we jump ahead, please? I'm sorry, Sazoni. Looks like I won't be able to keep visiting you in the hospital anymore. You'll forgive me though, right? I stuck it through the... Okay, yeah, we've read this before. Achi! It was Hitomi. He was glad that her voice was the last thing in this world he'd ever hear. Or so he thought. Hachi, bring the bomb over here! Huh? That wasn't Hitomi's voice. Hachi opened his eyes and saw Kano racing toward him, pushing some big, weird piece of machinery. The detective flipped open the machine's cover to reveal a huge mound of dry ice. Stick it in here! Flash freezing the timer ought to stop it. Hachi did as he was told, shoving the attaché case into the dry ice. Kano helped him pile more dry ice on top of it. Let's hope that's enough, Kano exclaimed. He looked like a man desperate for a miracle. He was a man desperate for a miracle. They could see the timer display through a gap in the frozen hydrogen, still counting down. Was this not going to work? Hachi and Kano held their breaths. To be continued. No, there's another time block. What? Yeah, you know what? You know why? It's because we have to get. We do have to get all the characters in there. So this is what you're supposed to do for them. We have to get Jack and Tano to good ends to actually see the ending. I guess that makes sense, but still hoping we can get deaths for them. So if we go and look at, let's quickly look at the what am I trying to say? The bad ending list. I think we're missing definitely one Kano death and maybe two, but maybe we've gotten all the Yachi ones. Okay, so I think 65 started the chapter. I think 64, yeah. So we have 5, 6, 7. Okay, we're missing 8. Which definitely seems to be an explosion one. 9, 1, 2. Okay, so we are missing one Hachi and one Kano. It definitely seems like it's an explosion one because it's in the middle of two other explosion ones. Yeah, I would say so. But we definitely have, it goes 78, Minorikawa is 79, then you go over to Jack with 80 through 82, and Tateno is 83 through 85. So yeah, okay, so we need one Hachi and one Kano. The good news is, I think it probably should be the same one, meaning it's the same bad end, just seen from two different characters' perspectives, so therefore two bad ends it'll count for. I'm going to guess that's the case. Sorry, I just need to make sure. Because we had a release tonight and there was an issue and then I had to file some bugs. Okay, good. They're deploying it. They're deploying the hotfix. All right. So, yeah. All right. So let's try to see if we can get those other two bad ends. So the easiest thing is probably, again, working our way backwards just to check, make sure we've exhausted all of the choices. That's the easiest way. Wow, so we got everything in that hour, huh? This is... Yeah, we did. So we've actually seen all of the Kano choices. Okay, how about the Hachi ones? Just double checking. Hey, Mr. Viking, how's it going? Yep, looks like we got all the Hachi ones too. Okay. So there is... I don't think Minorikawa we did all the ones too, right? Oops. No. Hey, go back to that. Yeah, I think we got all his. Okay. Just want to see, you know, what other people's choices might affect theirs. Okay, Tateno. I know we definitely didn't choose all of these. This is probably actually what you need to do to move Tateno forward. Yeah. Wait a minute, calling Hitomi. Hang on, let's see this. Go to my notes here. Kanan stared back at Tateno, cell phone in hand, waiting for his reply. Alright, I know we're supposed to fix Tateno by having him not shoot her, which is a device choice that Jack needs to give him. It doesn't matter what Hitomi says, I trust my own... It doesn't matter what Hitomi says, I trust my own judgment. Let's just see if that messes up anybody else. Oh yeah, okay. Good, good, good. Well, we know we can't get a different bad end with him, so I don't really care about that. Your own judgment, huh? And is that always correct? Kanan began punching in numbers. She never took her eyes off Tateno as she waited for Hitomi to pick up. So this is going to set off the bomb because Hitomi's phone will ring, hopefully. Or was the phone already turned off? Kanan hung up and tried calling again. Well, he was injured in the car accident. The game sort of suggests that you could feel his voice draining away, but he wasn't. We didn't see or hear that he was definitively killed. I mean, I think it would definitely be in keeping with the game if he just magically shows up alive later. Didn't even look like that big a car accident. I don't know. I don't think he's actually dead. It's me. It looked like she'd gotten through this time. That detective doesn't trust me. Apparently he thinks I'm Alfard, not Kanan. After a few moments, Kanan held the phone out to Tateno. Here, Hitomi says I'm definitely Kanan. Tateno didn't reach out for the phone. Instead, he advanced on Kanan with his gun still on its mark. This is a farce, Tateno spat. Yeah, comic book dead, sure. Hitomi's words don't mean a thing. You might be Kanan to her, but you aren't to me. I don't even know if there ever was a real person named Kanan in the first place, so maybe you're Kanan and you're Alfard. Kanan shook her head, then put her phone away. If you're really Alfard, then you don't actually need to hack the password, Tateno said. I'm guessing you've already gotten it from Tanaka. Okay, the rest of this is probably the same. No? Which means you'll be able to get your hands on the antiviral as soon as you get into that lab. Kanan didn't so much as flinch. The only thing stopping you is the antiviral still in Hitomi Osawa's body. Possessing the antiviral and have a monopoly on it are two very different things. Oh, wait, this is him talking. Oh, God. You want to eliminate Hitomi, that's why you lured her down to the scramble. Am I wrong? If that's true, then how am I... Okay, this is the same thing. Yes, that's right. Tateno couldn't be certain. Yeah, I think it just leads to the next choice. So I don't think this affects Tateno, but this could affect maybe Kanan... Or, sorry, Kanan. Kano and Achi. Okay, it's the same explanation. Okay, hopefully he doesn't get an answer because the bomb's already gone off. Yes, the phone rang several times and nobody answered. Eventually, had no choice but to hang up. Okay, good. This might be the bad end for them that we're looking for. They must have been in the middle of a confrontation on the other end. Nice. So... For now, Tateno could only pray that Kano and the others would be able to handle whatever threat they were up against. Okay, good. It's saved. I'm not letting you in there. I'm guessing this goes now to the other choice. Alright, good. We advance it far enough. Now let's go back to Kano and see if we, if the bomb will go off based on the phone call that Kanan makes to Hitomi. Galfard. Yeah, conflagration could be more accurate, true. Pulling out his cell phone. Kano dialed up so okay, as he did. Okay, yeah, we've seen this. Here we go, here's the phone call. Kano was suddenly thrown down hard onto the pavement. Where had the explosion come from? His lighter certainly hadn't set the gasoline ablaze. Kano hadn't been that clumsy. So what had happened? Okay, this is looking similar. Okay, good. It didn't say bad end, so I don't think we've gotten it before. Only one. I think it's like the same text, but it's different circumstances. Only one possible answer came to mind. Palmer had blown himself up. But that only confused Kano further. His captive had already given up. Yeah, no, wait, we've seen this text before. What would prompt him to set off a bomb at this juncture? As he was losing consciousness, Kano continued to rack his brain. But he found no answers. Come on, 70. 68, yes! We got it. So now, I think we're gonna get all the bad ends now. It's just, this is just the same side. Wow, that was a lot easier than I thought it would be. So that's 68, and then 75 is gonna be the same thing for Achi. And the beauty of it, too, was we didn't even have to go back, like, change very much at all. Oh, did I did not. So this should be our last bad end. I hope. Okay, doesn't matter. This we pick. Oh. Before he could complete his sentence, a massive explosion blasted Achi off his feet. He wasn't even on his feet, though. As that last photo clearly showed, he was already on the ground. Tiny bits of metal tore through his arms, legs, and torso. He crashed to the ground and crumpled like a tattered rag. He was already on the ground. I guess he could have been blasted off his legs and then crumpled back down to the ground. There were screams coming from all directions. But as Achi started to fade from consciousness, the voices got softer and softer. Through the haze of pain, he saw bloodied arms stretched out before him. He saw a hand that had been clasped with his hand all day long. The fingers feebly reached out for him, and Achi intertwined them with his own. It took the very last of his strength. Then both hands subsided into stillness. Bad end, number 75. 75. Boom, count it. A mysterious explosion. Yes, got the trophy. Got 2 trophies. One for getting all the bad ends in this block, and all of them in the game. Boom shakalaka. Gonna give it another bonus 5. Awesome, awesome, awesome possum. So now to fix this, fixing this should be super easy. So let's go to Tateno and choose the other one. It's going to be a long drawn out end, guys, though. You know it's going to be. But anyway. We've come to expect that. Okay, so that frees up. Now we're good with Achi and Kano. Now to free up Tateno, we have to go back to what Jack's message was. I think it was here over the phone. Was it 45? Yeah, it was this one. So the key is we need to stall. We need to tell Tateno to stall for time until Jack gets there. Find some way to stall until I get there. If she realizes we're onto her, you're done for. So instead of confronting her and trying to shoot her, because clearly we saw that did not work out too well. Tateno hung up without saying anything. All right, so I think that should actually free them up, both of them. Yep, it did. Awesome. Awesome person. All right, so let's go back here. So now we're in the standoff with Kane and Elfard with Tateno. we won't finish tonight. Well, at least we got the bad end. So that's half of the prediction win condition that's been fulfilled. The time ran out on that, right? I assume. I don't want to pull this trigger if I don't have to. It's not that you don't want to pull that trigger. It's that you can't pull that trigger. Kanan took another step closer. You're still traumatized from that time you let your friend's wife die.
How do you know about that?
Tateno was shaking now, his aim wavering. I heard you talking with the younger detective up on that rooftop. That was right. She had been there. Let's test my theory out. Kanan pointed her index finger at her own heart. If you think I'm Althard, then shoot me right here.
Huh.
The corner of her mouth twisted up. You can't do it, can you? Tateno's gun hand shook all the more. You're afraid to pull the trigger. It was as if her words were a spell she was casting over him. Oh my gosh. You can hardly even stand the thought of pointing your gun at someone. Katone's final moments flashed through Tateno's mind. If he hadn't fired back then, maybe Katone would still be alive. Your friend's entire life was changed because of you. Why hadn't he tried to talk the culprit down? He knew the reason why. Because he'd loved Katone. He'd still loved her, even after she'd become Daisuke's wife. His desire to be the one who saved her had warped his sense of judgment when things had come down to the wire. Tateno, do you not enjoy being with me? There was a forlorn look on Katone's face. It wasn't that he didn't enjoy being with her. Her very presence soothed him. But the more serious the relationship had grown, the more it tore at Tateno's heart. The truth was that he didn't really know what happiness was, and so he was incapable of making someone else happy. If it were possible, he'd want Katone to be smiling always. And that meant her being with someone other than him. That's kind of like, it's a pretty damn mature and also unrealistic realization for a high school student to have. Just gonna be honest there. You don't, while you're still in high school, determine that because you don't know what happiness is, you can't make anyone else happy. That's like, oh, come on. I think it would be best if we stop seeing each other. Tateno blurted out the words bluntly, and Katone's face fell. He hadn't broken up with her because of any lack of feeling for her. Rather, the impulse had actually sprung out of his pursuit of human warmth, and his growing fear of losing it. He'd just been so uneasy. More than anything, he'd been afraid that he wanted too much love and affection from Katone. Bit by bit, Tateno lowered his gun, his hand ever more unsteady. Yeah, Wizard Man, we got all the bad ends. We got them all 85. Nailed it. So now we're seeing the, what should be the end of the game. No matter what we choose, we know we can't go wrong. His heart was on the cusp of breaking. And still Kanan continued with her diabolic whispering. You can go ahead and kill me, but if it turns out I'm not Althard, what then? Now she stared at Tateno with an almost pitiable look. You'll have once more done something that you can never undo. Something I can never undo. Tateno repeated the words dully, feeling himself forced into a trance. That's right. Could you ever accept that? No, I couldn't make the same mistake. His whole body felt like it might fall apart. He wanted to drop to the ground and curl up in a ball like a child. And that's why you can't shoot anyone. I can't shoot anyone. As Tateno muttered the words, Kano's face appeared in the back of his mind. I can. Tears fell from Kano's eyes as he looked down the barrel of his gun at Tateno. He had become a detective who didn't lose sight of what he was supposed to protect, no matter the situation. Tateno had nearly forgotten, nearly abandoned his inward promise to be a detective worthy of that final salute Kano had given him. He brought his gun back up to bear, and then we paused for buys. Alright. Okay, let's resume timer. He brought his gun back up to bear. Don't be absurd, Kanan mocked. You can't shoot anyone. Actually, I can. The words creaked dryly from Tateno's throat. When there's something I'm supposed to protect, I can shoot. The memory of Kano weeping but taking aim had given him the resolve he needed to face down an opponent who ought to have terrified him. I learned that from someone who was terrible at his job. Kanan's eyes went cold. Immediately she lifted up her gun again. Once more their eyes locked, sparks of hostility crackling between them. But almost immediately Tateno could sense the difference in skill between his opponent and himself. The young woman, or girl really, radiated a deadly aura. The force of her stare was like a knife pressed to his throat. She had borne witness to carnage and bloodshed, the likes of which he couldn't even imagine. He couldn't win this. She would kill him, guaranteed. Tateno braced himself for death, never taking his eyes off Kanan's. If nothing else, he needed to buy time for Kano to get that password. But he could do that. But could he do that, given the opponent he faced? Yes. Somehow, he would do it. As a detective, as a man, even if he had to give his own life to succeed. Yeah, I mean, God, the writing is like so hackneyed. It's like writing itself with the most like stereotypical, over-the-top schlock you can imagine. Oh, man. Yeah, that's anime, I suppose. Even if it couldn't come close to making up for the sins he had committed. And the music certainly isn't helping, because the music is so over the top. End! Okay, we reached the end of Tateno, even though he was only one time block. Okay. If you have no overthrown a government H4, are you even trying? Alright, so now we gotta do Jack Stanley. So it had been for the past 2 years. Now those years flashed through Stanley's mind in the blink of an eye. As he came back into the moment, he marveled at his own ferocity, and at the depth of the wound he'd suffered. Okay, now we actually do have a choice, but we know it doesn't matter, because we've seen all the dead ends, the bad ends. Yeah, see? Do you want to make her pay with her life? If you sink to her level, you'll never be able to beat her. If I do get revenge, what would Frank think? What would Frank think? Let's find out. When Stanley pictured his younger brother, it wasn't with a smile on his face. The realization gave him pause. In the end, killing Althard wouldn't bring his brother back. That went without saying. But although he could see now that revenge was an absurd goal, his heart still churned deep and dark with resentment. Yeah, because this doesn't change anything, right? Yep, nope. In the, but oh my god, guys, please. Now they're talking about trees. All right, can I mute this, please? I'm gonna mute this. Alright, although he could see now that revenge was an absurd goal, his heart still churned with deep and dark with resentment. Finally, the Akoshi Pharmaceutical Laboratory came into view. There were two people standing outside the front gate. It was Tateno and the girl who was pretending to be Kanan. Each had a gun drawn on the other. Somehow Stanley had made it in time. He pulled his car up alongside them and reached down into the gun sleeve concealed beside his seat. He pulled out a .44 caliber Desert Eagle. Oh, just from Snatch. One of the most powerful semi-automatic handguns in the world. A semi-automatic handgun designed by Minnesota-based Magnum Research Inc. and manufactured by Israeli Weapon Industries. There are various models chambered for different rounds. The largest, the 50 Action Express, 50 AE, is exceptionally powerful by semi-automatic handgun standards. His orders were to apprehend Alphard. The smaller Glock in his shoulder holster might be better suited to that end. Even so, he opted for the Desert Eagle. Okay, if you're going to enter a standoff, why would you enter there? Dude, approach her from behind her. And why would you pull your car there? Approach behind. Oh my god. So she can't see both of you at the same time. Getting out of the car, he started pacing toward the young woman.
This is no time to play the fool.
Stanley.
Tateno glanced over him, his face pale. Stanley gave a silent nod in reply. And also, if you're gonna approach from that direction, why don't you have your gun drawn, dude? Why is it down? Why? He could see the hint of a smile on the girl's face, probably a smile of overconfidence. Like, as soon as you open your driver's side door, the gun should be out. Well, her brazenness would get her no further.
I got in touch with the others, Stanley said. Told them to turn off Hitomi Osawa's cell phone.
He could see her eyes react.
I imagine that by now they've also managed to deal with the bomb you planted on your decoy.
The young woman remained silent. Oh yeah, even better. Yeah, there you go. Sprint. That's what there. Perfect. Yeah, just run her down from behind. Absolutely.
And of course, they've managed to bypass the lock inside the lab. You know what this means? Your little plan has failed. Completely.
Stanley could see the girl's stare sharpen. He'd chased Alphard all around the world, only to arrive here, at last, in this little island nation. Okay, I don't think Japan is this. I wouldn't exactly call Japan a little island nation. It had been a long, long journey. It's not exactly like Tuvalu or something. And he'd spent a long time suffering. Now, both the journey and the suffering would be over. Oh, now the gun goes off. Okay.
We meet at last, Alphard.
Oh, and... Okay, so probably what that means is we're going to make it over with Kano and Achi over to where Jack and Stanley, or Jack and Tateno are. Stanley and Tateno. Or not all the story. Oh man, all of them are going to intersect here. Wow. Oh, excuse me. We don't even have... Oh, it's just an epilogue.
What's up with that?
And Kanan's friend. There's not even a timestamp here. So is this like time block 10? She felt a hand firmly clutching her own as she hastily returned to consciousness. This hand, whose is it? My father's? Maria's eyelids slowly drifted open. Maria,
You're all right now.
Her father... Oh, he was Osawa. Maria, you're all right now. Her father was indeed beside her, holding her hand. A surprising warmth radiated from his slender, bony palm.
Dad? Dad?
She was lying on a sofa. She craned her neck to look around, still trying to process what was going on. There were several monitors set up around the room.
Where are we?
At my laboratory. You were infected with a virus, but I've given you the antiviral. You don't have anything to worry about. He squeezed Maria's hand even more tightly.
That hurts.
Ah, right, sorry. Osawa eased up the pressure on his daughter's hand. But he didn't let go entirely.
This feels so strange,
Maria muttered, staring up at the ceiling.
I wonder why.
What does?
Having you hold my hand.
I used to hold your hand like this when we'd go on walks together, when you were little. I doubt you remember that, though. Maria considered. It was true. She didn't have any clear memory of her father holding her hand like this. And yet the touch of her father's palm felt distantly familiar. Gently, she squeezed back.
It's been a while, hasn't it?
She said.
I mean, me looking you in the eye while I'm talking to you.
That's only because I didn't look you in the eye. Osawa hung his head. I'm so sorry, he said. Please forgive me. I never meant to hurt you like I did.
Wait, hold on.
Maria was taken aback.
I don't know what you're talking about. What do you mean, hurt me?
Back on that rainy day. Osawa told Maria about the day she'd run away from home. Wait, what? There's like a mixer? Oh, they must be... What are they... Looks like they're in like a recording studio there. Set up. But they're in his lab? What's going on? About how he'd known where she had gone, but hadn't gone to find her. About how he'd given in to his anger and struck her once she came back home. When he'd finished, he hung his head once more. I'm so sorry. I've been such a terrible father. Maria cracked an impish smile.
Oh, yeah. I guess that did happen. You are a pretty shitty dad.
Osawa frowned.
You know, she said, I'd totally forgotten about that. I haven't been emotionally traumatized and scarred at all. Until you mentioned it just now, I mean.
No, I can't believe that, Osawa replied. The way I hurt you, He sounded so disappointed in himself.
Dad, it's not like I can let myself dwell on each and every detail of my childhood. I mean, in the 19 or so years I've been alive, I've been hurt in lots of different ways, all by you.
A child experienced so much more than what her parents knew. That was what growing up was all about. It was a happy thing, but also a little bit sad. Okay, that's probably the best line in the game. It was a happy thing, but also a little... I mean, that's straight out of like a 3-year-old children's book. Oh my god. That's the best one. Osawa was visibly grappling with his feelings. I see, he said. I guess you have gone through much pain.
Well, yeah, but there have been more things that were fun and happy.
I see.
It's the sum of all those things that have made me who I am today. So please, don't worry so much about the past.
I see.
Dad, you really have to stop listening to Ayakamiki and communicating with Pretty Honey. You keep saying I see. Stop it.
Sorry. It's just... This is also difficult to say. Osawa was trying and failing to hold back his tears. Maria wasn't quite sure what those tears were for, but she felt a prickle of embarrassment. A prickle? Shyly she looked away, and her eyes alighted on one of the monitors. And I've been kicked out of the window. The screen showed a view from outside the lab.
Who are those people?
She asked, pointing. Osawa looked, and his eyes widened in shock. 3 people with guns were facing off with one another. Maria recognized one of them, Tateno, the man with the cane.
Why are those 2 pointing guns at your friend?
Oh wait, that's Osawa said that. Why are those 2 pointing guns at your friend? Osawa's voice was shaking.
My friend? What do you mean?
The one you met when we went to the Middle East. You know, Kanan. Osawa switched the monitor to show a different camera angle. Okay, so it is like he took her his lab, but apparently the lab is also sort of the security security room with all the footage. A close-up of the young woman's face appeared on screen. Maria was at a loss for words. That certainly wasn't Kanan. It was the girl who'd come to tell Maria that Hitomi was going to be kidnapped. Kanan's friend. It had happened 3 days earlier. While Maria was on her way home from campus, a girl approached her, telling her she was a friend of Kanan.
Kanan asked me to pass along a message,
she said. Then she showed Maria a video recording. The video quality was quite poor and the voice indistinct.
There's a terrorist who's after the antiviral agent your father is developing.
Maria listened in shock as the message continued. The terrorist plan was already in motion, and Hitomi had been infected with a killer virus.
Your father used the antiviral to save Hitomi, but the terrorist planned on that. I'll spare you the details, but there's a way to extract the antiviral from Hitomi's blood. Stealing the drug from the laboratory directly is too problematic. The terrorist intends to get it directly from your sister. Hitomi is certain to be kidnapped sometime in the next few days, and so I have something to ask you. I'd like you to get kidnapped in her place. Since you're twins, it should be possible for you to trade places without the kidnappers realizing it. I gave the girl who's passing along this message a necklace outfitted with a small GPS beacon. Make sure you wear the necklace. Switch it on and allow me to keep tabs on your location. I promise I'll come and rescue you. Please, help me. This is the only way we can keep the antiviral and Hitomi safe.
The video ended and the girl handed Maria a necklace with an ornate pendant and showed her the hidden switch on the back.
Kanan's coming to Japan?
Maria asked.
She's already here. She's ready to risk her life for this mission.
Risk her life? Maria started uneasily.
So this terrorist who's after the antiviral drug, is it Alphard?
The girl looked shocked.
You know about Alphard? Kanan told me that taking down Alphard is her purpose in life, but Alphard has ties to the CIA, so it's hard for Kanan to get any good leads. That's true, which reminds me you should have this.
The girl held out a photograph.
This man is dangerous. Stay away from him. He's an ally of Alphard.
Maria did her best to burn the man's image into her mind.
All right, the girl said. I've passed along everything Kanan wanted me to tell you. What you do next is up to you. So wait, what the heck has been going on while I've been asleep?
Osawa recoiled from the ferocity on his daughter's face. That Kanan girl thought of a way to save you. He went on to explain the plan to get the antiviral out of the lockdown laboratory. Once again, Maria stared at the monitor. As she eyed Kanan's friend, another memory from before she'd blacked out drifted to the surface. I will give it to that girl. She does have some pretty good facial expressions. Suddenly it dawned on Maria what this girl was planning.
She pretended to be Kanan in order to get into the lab,
she said, scowling at the image on the monitor. Osawa looked at the screen and then at his daughter's face. Well, then who in the world is she? Maria already had the answer. There was no doubt about it. That girl was Alphard. The instant she realized this, she knew they were in danger. If Alphard managed to infiltrate the lab, there was no way she'd be satisfied with simply getting her hands on the antiviral. She sowed ruin everywhere she went. Is something wrong? Osawa asked uneasily. Maria, what is it? Maria's mind was racing. She spoke her thoughts out loud.
She's going to kill you so the drug can't be recreated. No, that's not thorough enough. She's going to destroy this whole facility.
But how? Vague possibilities tumbled through her mind, but she couldn't be sure what the terrorists might be planning. She gritted her teeth in frustration. Don't worry, Osawa said. I don't know who that girl is, but right now she's outside the lab. There's no way she can kill me or plant a bomb in here or anything.
She already has.
Yeah, I know. Maria gave a tiny nod, but something gnawed at the back of her mind.
Make sure you wear the necklace.
Hurriedly, Maria took hold of the pendant that hung around her neck. As soon as she did, she felt a chill run up her spine. She went back over the details of Alphard's plan, as her father had explained it, and then finally she understood.
I've got it.
Osawa straightened up. You've got what?
I need to get out there where those three are.
Don't be absurd.
I have to go.
Osawa peered closely at his daughter's face. Words weren't going to stop her, and as he realized that, his own face stiffened with determination. All right, but I'm going with you. I can't let you rush into danger all by yourself.
Thank you, Dad.
Maria tried to get up from the sofa, but she was struck by a wave of vertigo, and her knees buckled. Are you all right? Osawa caught her by the arm. This is probably a side effect of the antiviral. You shouldn't push yourself too much. Maria looked up at her father's anxious face and shook her head.
Don't worry, I'll be okay.
Her body was weak with lethargy, her mind trapped in a disorienting haze. Every step was a monumental effort. But she clenched her jaw and forced herself onward, making her way down the laboratory hallway. A whirlwind of anger and sadness spurred her onward. Alphard was masquerading as Kanan. The cruel truth was all too clear. The terrorists would never have been able to get away with the deception if Kanan were still alive. Which means that Kanan must be... Maria fought to hold back her tears. It was too early to cry just yet. That could wait until after she'd put a stop to Alphard's plan. Using her rage to suppress her sorrow, she shoved open the door in front of her.
That isn't Kanan.
I love how the lab leads directly down a hallway to like the exterior. It's not very... I thought they didn't even take the elevator. Wasn't it supposed to be like several floors underground? Maria's voice exploded into the silence of the standoff. I doubt we're getting better testimony than that, Stanley said, his gun still at the ready. There's no way talking your way out of things this time. The expression on Alphard's face didn't change. She stood still, a mannequin without a soul. I love how Osawa's like using her as a human shield. He's like, oh my god. That's a bad look there.
What did you do to Kanan?
Maria demanded. Go, thank you for the host. Marching unsteadily toward the terrorist. Maria, stay back! Osawa exclaimed. She ignored him.
Hey, don't get any closer,
Tateno barked. He looked exhausted, on the verge of collapse.
Answer me,
Maria cried, still advancing.
what happened to Kanan?
But still Alphard said nothing. Stanley, too, began edging toward her.
It doesn't matter what you ask, he said. She won't tell you anything.
Bit by bit, he inched closer. He was going to try to take her down.
Let me turn your question around,
Alphard said abruptly. What do you think? Maria paused, confused.
What do I think about what?
What do you think happened to Kanan? The corners of her lips twisted up, shaping a mirthless smile.
You killed her, didn't you?
Maria's words came out as a whisper. Now you tell me.
What was that? I couldn't quite hear you.
You killed Kanan, didn't you?
This time Maria cried out with biting fury. Alphard snickered.
She's provoking me,
Maria thought, forcing herself to swallow her rage. She couldn't let herself get caught up in Alphard's game, or her anger would spill out of control.
Why are you laughing?
By force of will, Maria made her voice firm and steady.
Because I'm guessing you weren't expecting me to show up here.
Alphard raised an eyebrow ever so slightly.
This thing here, it's a bomb, isn't it?
Maria held out the necklace.
What?
Stanley furrowed his brow.
Of course. Even if we managed to catch you here, you'd still be able to destroy the lab.
Still, the smile remained on Alphard's face. She seemed to enjoy watching the others figure out her intentions. Yeah, can't you just shoot her already? I'm with Bill.
But you can't trigger the bomb with me standing this close to you, can you? Here, catch!
You should just throw it at her. Maria locked eyes with Alphard.
Unless you're prepared to sacrifice yourself,
I'm already dead, bitch. That's what she'll say back. She stood like an image of bravery, while on the inside her apprehension threatened to tear her apart. She could feel her heart thudding so fiercely that she thought it might explode. Cold sweat trickled down her spine. Only her rage at Kanan's murder kept her from backing down.
Go ahead and blow yourself up if that's what you want, she said. But you'll die with nothing. Your death will mean nothing. But not mine. My death will avenge Kanan's.
Silence fell outside the laboratory gates. When all of a sudden, in walked Yanagashita! Hi, everybody. Stanley and Tateno stood frozen, their guns still trained on Alphard. Both men were ready to pull the trigger at the slightest provocation. Just how long had they been there, staring one another down? The passage of time seemed to slow, seconds drawn into hours. Osawa swallowed audibly. Finally, Alphard tossed her gun onto the pavement and held up both hands in surrender. Stanley wasted no time, springing forward to secure her. He gave her a thorough pat-down from behind. Whoa, Stanley. He removed a small device that looked like a detonator from one of her pockets.
On your knees.
Alphard did as she was told. Isn't she gonna, then take out his feet and whatnot?
Good. Now hands behind your head. Try anything funny and I will shoot.
Without a word, Alphard placed her hands on the back of her head, fingers laced together.
What are you playing at?
Stanley growled disdainfully.
Finally realize you can only push your luck so far?
She responded with a faint snicker. It's not my policy to resist when things are hopeless. Her tone was detached, her intentions unreadable.
Good. That'll make this easy.
Stanley kept the barrel of his gun pointed at Alphard's head.
This is for my brother.
The words hung in his throat, unspoken. A surge of emotion coursed through him. Just a tiny bit more pressure from his index finger, and he could put a bullet right through Alphard's head. His long journey would finally reach its conclusion. But although he had wished for this moment more than anything, his finger did not move. If he pulled the trigger now, would that truly be the end? His mind reeled at the implications. Titano watched Stanley closely, eventually letting out a tiny sigh of relief. They were in this together, after all. Now they just needed to be careful not to let down their guard. He kept one eye on Alphard as he went to pick up the gun she discarded. But he was too late. The gun was gone.
This is for Kanan!
Maria had lunged forward, snatching up the gun. "Maria, no!" Osawa cried. "What are you thinking?" She ignored her father, taking aim at Alphard's forehead.
Kanan's dead, and you're gonna pay.
The smoldering rage she'd fought to hold back blazed up with renewed fury.
Maria,
Stanley said calmly.
put down the gun.
He had nothing but words to stop her. There was no telling what Alphard might do if he took his gun off her.
What will this accomplish? What?
He asked, keeping his tone as level as possible. Maria's face remained awash with anger. "Maria!" her father pleaded. "Please don't do this!" Titano took a step forward.
Go on, hand me the gun,
he said.
Stay back!
Maria's arm trembled as she aimed the gun. Everyone stood frozen, not even daring to breathe. The slightest wrong move might bring disaster. The silence roared.
I don't care, Alphard sneered. If you want to shoot, then shoot. You do want to avenge Kanan, don't you? Yes, I do.
Maria tightened her grip on the gun. Murmurings of her friend drifted through her mind. To Maria, born into peace, meaning Kanan had been like touching a world beyond her own, a far more complicated world. Kanan had blood on her hands from the time she was a little girl, a walking contradiction of cruelty and childishness. And yet, she had lived her life according to her own unshakable beliefs. Meaning her had made Maria think hard about her own identity. What did it mean to be Japanese? No, that wasn't the question.
What did it mean to be Maria Osawa?
That was the crux of it all. They had been able to find common ground despite differing ideals, because both possessed an unshakable sense of self. The tense equilibrium came crashing down as Maria let out a shout.
This is for Kanan!
She pulled the trigger, but her shot went wide. How close was she? Shattering the window of that nearby car. The sudden gunshot caught Stanley off guard. Alphard didn't miss her opening. She rolled swiftly across the pavement, drawing the small pistol she'd hidden in an ankle holster. Maria hastily tried to aim for a second shot.
Dad?
Osawa collapsed at Maria's feet.
Dad!
Her father went limp. Stanley dived at Alphard. He grabbed hold of her right wrist, the one clutching the gun, and slammed her head down hard against the pavement. She made no attempt to resist. In a moment, he had subdued her. Maria, you're not hurt, are you? Osawa croaked feebly as his daughter gathered him up in her arms.
I'm fine, but Dad, you're...
Blood was gushing through Osawa's shirt. Maria pressed her hand against the wound, but the bleeding wouldn't stop.
Look, just hurry. Get here as fast as you can.
Tateno was on his cell phone, calling for an ambulance.
I know there's a traffic jam. Just figure something out. Please.
Oh, aren't the cars supposed to move out of the way for a fucking ambulance? His voice was ragged with desperation.
Dad, hang in there.
Large tears streamed from Maria's eyes.
Ah, so this is what it's like.
Osawa lay with his head in his daughter's lap, struggling to rasp out his words.
My body just reacted before I had any time to think. So this is what love is. I finally understand what a virus must feel like.
That's his takeaway? His eyes were hollow.
I never told you, Anatomy, did I? About what started my fascination with virus research. Dad, try not to talk right now.
Maria squeezed her father's hand. Almost imperceptibly, he squeezed back.
It probably isn't a very interesting story, he said. But I'd like for you both to hear it anyway.
I know, and we will. After this, I promise we will.
Maria's words brought a contented smile to Osawa's face.
I'm glad, so glad. Tell Hitomi. I don't give two shits about her. It was you, Maria. It was always you.
It's all right, just don't talk right now.
This time, at least, I was there for you.
Osawa slowly shut his eyes.
Dad?
Maria said, but her father didn't answer.
Dad, don't die. You can't die.
The sound of ambulance sirens wailed in the distance. See there? 2 minutes later, they're already in the area. Maria clutched her father's hand, trying to make her grip firm and reassuring, just as his had been for her back inside the laboratory.
Please, don't die.
She repeated the words inwardly over and over. A black car of foreign make arrived at the laboratory and pulled up to the curb. Stanley's superior, Gordon, emerged from the back. Commissioner Gordon, you're here. A few of his men followed and promptly placed Alphard in handcuffs.
Well done,
Gordon said. Stanley gave him a slight nod. I'll be taking Alphard back to headquarters. You can finish up here.
Understood, sir.
We'll take it from here, Batman. Gordon shoved Alphard into the back seat and slid in alongside her, and the car drove off.
Who was that just now?
Tateno asked Stanley.
My boss. Sorry, but we'll be taking Alphard into custody. You will, huh?
Tateno frowned, but decided not to press the point. So I actually kind of wonder, probably not, but I kind of wonder whether if you had chosen a different thing for Stanley, would he have actually taken the opportunity to shoot her instead of not taking revenge for Frank, which was our choice. The ambulance arrived at last, and Osawa was loaded inside. Maria remained at his side, still weeping, still softly calling out to him. He could sense her there, though her voice sounded awfully far away.
Is this the end, then?
He was vaguely aware that he was dying, but he was not afraid. At the far end of a hazy tunnel, he could still see Maria. My, she had grown. She had grown so very much. If he were an organism that multiplied by dividing itself, he would die, knowing that he had left his best selves behind. He had only one wish now, that Maria and Hitomi would go on to lead happy lives. His vision was growing steadily more dim. Tiny motes of light flickered and wavered faintly before his eyes. Gitmo, thank you for the bits. It looked a lot like the very first time he had ever peered through a microscope. And that was enough for him. Unexpectedly, Maria's cell phone rang in Stanley's pocket. He'd meant to give it back to her, but the ambulance had already departed. The phone continued to ring for some time, but eventually fell into a death-like silence. O2. Achi held his breath. He could no longer feel the seconds ticking by. The numbers on the display were changing more and more slowly. But still he watched in fear. It was impossible not to fixate on the countdown. 2, 2, 2. Achi and Kano. Kano and Achi continued to stare at the timer. 2. It had stopped. The timer had actually stopped.
We did it!
Achi dropped to his knees with a cry of triumph. The rest of the Shibuya Scramble burst into cheers. You are one reckless guy, you know that? Kano held his hand out. Achi grinned up at him.
That makes 2 of us.
The two clasped hands firmly, their handshake conveying more than any words could have. Achi. Susumu came rushing over. You did it, man. I knew you could do it. The two bumped fists.
It weren't just me,
Achi said.
I could have never done it without you guys' help.
Susumu smiled bashfully.
Hey, Susumu, take care of SOS for me.
You got it.
Susumu looked him squarely in the eye. Achi gave a little nod and the two solemnly bumped fists again. Suddenly there was a blinding flash. Achi spun around to see Chiaki standing there, beaming happily, her digital camera ready for another shot. Hey everyone, gather up! Minorikawa called out to Achi and his pals. You guys are the heroes of Shibuya!
Photo time, everyone!
Chiaki said.
Get ready!
The young man struck a pose together. Wait, her too! Minorikawa ushered Hitomi over to stand with Achi.
Hitomi!
Achi stared at her shyly. It was all thanks to Hitomi that he'd been able to do what he had done. Keeping Shibuya safe. Keeping his promise to Suzune. Hitomi had been his inspiration for it all. There were so many things he wanted to say, but he couldn't quite get the right words out.
Achi, I...
Hitomi's cheeks were damp with tears. Hey now, little lady, Minorikawa called. No crying now. Come on, show us a smile. He struck a goofy pose beside Chiaki. At last the smile returned to Hitomi's face.
It really is the best.
Huh?
Hitomi looked up. Oh,
It really is the best.
Huh?
Hitomi looked up at Achi in confusion.
Your smile, he said. It's the best. I don't care what anyone else says. I want that smile. Ooh.
He spoke so earnestly that Hitomi couldn't help but smile even more.
Okay, here we go, people. Get your best faces on.
At Minorikawa's signal, everyone let out a joyous victory cry.
Come on, guys.
Susumu shouted.
Let's lift Archie up where everyone can see him.
The members of SOS let out another roar.
Huh? No, you don't gotta do that, guys. Hey, cut it out.
But Archie had already been swallowed by the enthusiastic throng. I like how suddenly his leg no longer hurts. He's just getting thrown into the air. Heave ho!
Heave ho!
Heave ho! There in the middle of the scramble, Archie was being hailed as a hero. Kano looked on with a satisfied smile. What they had achieved together was nothing less than a miracle. It had taken a lot of luck, and more than a few coincidences for them to stop the bomb. Coincidences? Kano muttered to himself. No, that wasn't right. This was something different altogether. Fate, that's what it was. And not just one person's fate. The destinies of several people had collided, gathering momentum until coincidence became inevitability, and Shibuya was saved. The raucous crowd tossed Archie high into the air again and again. As a plainclothes detective, Kano would probably never be showered with adulation quite like that. Well, that was all right. A detective's duty was to ensure the safety of the people. He didn't put his life on the line so that he could be a hero. Just seeing all those smiles, that was good enough for him. Kano only needed the approval of one person, and that was Rumi. And Rumi's father, whom he needed his approval to avoid becoming a farmer. Rumi, I hope she managed to get out of Shibuya okay. Suddenly worried, Kano pulled out his cell phone. There were a whole bunch of things he wanted to tell her. He couldn't share the whole story, police rules wouldn't allow it, but he wanted to let her know as much as he could. That the kidnapping case had been resolved safely, for instance. That he'd learned about the tortured past of the detectives he so admired. That his partner was going to pull through. That he'd managed to finally talk to her father. That he'd put his life on the line to save Shibuya from danger. Rumi would listen quietly to the very end, and then Kano thought he knew just what she'd say. Short and sweet, in that gentle voice of hers.
Good job.
Ah, it's over. And so we never found out what happened to Alcaro at the station. I like how Alfard is a 14-year-old girl mastermind terrorist who is operated completely independently. I mean, I guess she got the help of the other foreigners, but then she just like slit all of their throats. Yeah, actually, the most surprising thing to me is that Yanagashita did not show up at the end. That was very surprising. I thought for sure he'd show up with you. Ayakamiki as Self. Yeah, we don't find out whether Kajiwara lived or not. All successful entrants can be an extra in our new sound novel contest. Wow, so they had a contest to determine if you could be an extra in the game. Yeah, we never found out what happened with the 4-star. I mean, I thought the epilogue. There's Yanagashita. I thought the epilogue would contain, okay, what happens to all of their stories. That was more like the ending. The epilogue should be, okay, what happens after? Like, how did they get the issue to publicate it to press, the 4-star gossip, general gossip? Did they get the, did Toyama get to keep his job? What happened to Hana? Yeah, right, exactly. The epilogue wasn't it. Like, the epilogue was just the ending. Oh yeah, cartoon. Thank you. So I'll say this much. I mean, this is what, the third longest game? I don't think the game was as bad as I was actually. Yeah, third longest game. I don't think it was not as bad as I was expecting. Part of that's actually because I tried to go for the 100%, trying to get all the bad ends. If I hadn't done that, it probably wouldn't, I don't know. Maybe I would have gotten half of the entertainment value out of it. I did like the last chapter was actually pretty neat how all stuff came together. And I appreciate there's definitely a lot of effort that went into this. From illegally filming and taking all these photographs everywhere. Like, they rarely half-ass things. I think they put a lot of effort into it. And I think the story, like, yes, it was melodramatic and over the top, which at least doesn't resonate with me. I could see how some people, that wouldn't bother other people, but there are the bananas. Rocket the twin bananas. Yeah, this is some of the best visual. Yeah, I mean, and, you know, it was a lot of work, I'm sure, to get these, interwoven storylines, and I like how you change one thing and everything else changes. That's kind of cool. So I ended up getting more out of it than I thought I would, because there was a little bit more gameplay than I thought. And again, they really put a lot of effort into it. It wasn't like slapdash by any stretch. And I like that it was, real people. It wasn't cartoon and everything. So even though it was over the top, at least it was like dealing with real Tokyo and Shibuya and everything. And it wasn't like cartoony. I didn't like all the false choices though, that's for sure. A lot of the plot twists were also, you'd see coming. Okay, here, this is probably something. Gordon Alphard sat in the back seat as the car sped along the highway. Okay, yeah, I'm sure Gordon is with Alphard. I was waiting to see this. They're gonna he's in league with her. Here. Gordon tossed the handcuff key, yep, there we go, onto the seat beside him. That's exactly what I'm talking about. You can see a lot of these, we saw that Maria was really in the Tama suit. We saw that the man in the cane was actually Detective Tateno. Like, a lot of the twists you can just, they're telegraphed so heavily, it's just obvious. What happened down at the Scramble? Alphard asked, picking up the key and unlocking her cuffs. Leland Palmer was arrested by the Japanese police, and the bomb in the attaché case was defused, apparently. Still, Palmer shouldn't pose a problem once we get him into CIA custody. I see. Much obliged. You really got yourself backed into a corner, though, didn't you? Gordon said. Yeah, I was only able to accomplish half of what I intended. Half? Alphard produced a vial from her pocket. It was filled with red liquid. Is that Hitomi's blood? Gordon asked. Indeed, I managed to acquire the antiviral. But when? Gordon peered at her in bewilderment. When I blew up the minivan. In the dim light of the vehicle, Alphard's eyes shone darkly, like those of a wounded animal. Extracting the blood from Hitomi while she was unconscious had been a simple matter. Saving the girl's life had been more than just a means of ensuring her trust. Alphard had been looking for the right moment to carry out the extraction. Total secrecy was essential. If it became public knowledge that the drug existed, and that some of it had been stolen, the value of the WA virus would plummet. Our primary objective here was to destroy that research facility. Still, getting our hands on the antiviral is better than nothing. Well done as always, Alphard. Gordon's hard expression softened, but Alphard was in no mood to return his smile. If Maria Osawa had remained inside the facility, her plan would have succeeded. Everything else up until that point had gone off without a hitch. Well, isn't she still holding the bomb, the necklace? I guess she doesn't have the detonator anymore, but... The one thing Alphard hadn't anticipated was Maria bringing the bomb outside. She had injected Maria with a knockout drug back at Endo Electronics that should have kept her from moving around for a while, even after she'd regained consciousness. And in any case, she wouldn't have expected the girl to just march into the midst of an armed standoff. She had been certain that Maria would never leave the lab. She had misjudged how strong the girl's feelings for Kanan were. Maria's body had been put into a state of torpor. There were a bunch of people pointing guns at each other, and still she had been undeterred. Alphard's plan had hinged on Maria's relationship with Kanan, and ironically, that same relationship had made the plan fall apart. It was true that she'd accomplished half of her goals, but Alphard still couldn't shake her sense of failure. She softly bit her lip as she gazed out through the car window. The bright windows of a few buildings shone out in the midst of the otherwise darkened city. A group of tiny lights that refused to be washed out by the darkness. The end. So I guess, yeah, it's setting up a sequel, I suppose. That apparently wasn't produced as a game, but as an anime. Published by Spike Chunsoft. White bookmark. But what about Kajiwara? Okay. Oh my god. You'll find a match soon.
I want to be a strong person.
Please be happy for me. Oh, is this just an ad for a different game? Heartbeat of Spring? I thought it was like young Tateno and Katone or something. Bonus content added to the title screen. Oh, okay. Achievement unlocked. The end question mark. Previews added to bonus content. Suzune preview added to bonus content. 420 pop quiz. There's a quiz. How much were you paying attention to our 48 and a half hours of content that we threw at you? Oh my god. New, the bonus guy. Oh no. Oh no. What the heck? Oh. Okay, so these are the preview. Okay, we saw these. These are the previews for all the time blocks. Yeah, they were, right? Did we just see the preview, or what is this? Yeah, we did. Okay, this is what we already saw. Pop quiz. Oh, oh god. Is it like timed or something? Here is your first question. The wild virus is approximately this many Oh, you expect me to remember the nanometers? How many nanometers it was? You gotta be kidding me. Oh my god, game. No. What? Oh wow, you can't actually use the keyboard. What? 100, I don't care. No, not 1,000. You just said 3 digits. Now you're letting me enter in more? No. Oh my god. Can this game not even do basic text entry? 10Q. Oh, I have to probably do blank spaces. Hang on. To get to the end? Oh my god, so dumb. Okay, if you're telling me it's 3 digits, just give me the option to only enter in 3 digits. No dice. What? You have to put it in until you get it right? Are you serious? Oh my god, and to get back, I have to go all the way back here? 100. Okay, yeah. Okay, you can jump to the end at least. Thank you. Oh, you got it correct. Look at that. Bam. Bam. Nailed it. Answering pop quiz questions correctly will let you read special episodes. Oh, how lovely. Enjoy the tale of Asao Ozu and Yutaro Sagawa. Oh, those were the Yakuza guys.
Oh no.
Oh god, I don't know if I have the I don't know if I have the tail. This is gonna be too long, isn't it? I don't know if I have the stomach for this. I mean, ordinarily I love looking at bonus content, but if it's just gonna be more facepalm stories. Well, actually, Nico, is this actually short? I don't think we're gonna be able to get through this stuff in like 20 minutes. Oh yeah, okay, thank you, Nico. That's right, so Nico prepared. So this is an explanation of the 428 post-game content, as it were. All right, true ending. Did we get the true ending? To unlock the true ending, you need to choose all the Forgiveness Mercy options for Kano, Achi, Titano, and Jack in the last time segment. Personally, it's impossible to figure out on your own unless you spend a lot of time doing trial and error. Hidden spoilers at the end about the correct choices. Oh man. So I'm guessing we didn't get that. All the bonus content is very long. Yeah. Okay, we're not doing it. We're not doing. Definitely not. Oh my god. So we didn't get the true ending. I guess we got a good ending, but probably not the true ending. Yeah. Okay, there are 2 bonus scenarios with no choices that unlock after you beat the game. You can access them from the time chart. Oh yeah, the time chart. One scenario wraps up Suzune's story. Okay, so that's the preview. About 45 to 60 minutes long. This one is only available if you found 50 or more bad ends. Oh, we did do that. We got all 85. Darn tootin'. Highly recommended if you enjoyed the main game. The other scenario is backstory about Kanan. Lasts about 2 to 3 hours. Unlocks after you get the true ending. Is anime and written by the guest writer from Type Moon, Kinoko Nasune, known for the Fate series. Therefore, it's awful. All right, the pop quiz and special episodes. Access from the main menu. Questions whose answers you can find throughout the in-game tips. Each correct answer unlocks a mini-story called a special episode concerning one of the game's minor characters. Their quality varies wildly. Remember how some of the screens scroll from one side of the screen to the other? On some of them, if you wait long enough, the screen will scroll to a hidden input, which when entered unlocks one of the special episodes. Wow. Mean Clean. Remember Mean Clean and Achi's shirt? Yeah, his t-shirt changed midway through the game. After the explosion, you can notice, yeah, he's missing from his shirt. That's because he is on an adventure of his own. Oh, so that was intentional. It wasn't a continuity error. He's on an adventure of his own, which is unlocked by finding newly available in-game tips. Wow. Door. There are a couple of other impossible to figure out on your own hidden stuff, which will eventually unlock a playable version of Door.
What's up with that?
Koichi Nakamura's first game with Mean Clean as the player character. You know, so I think that kind of the coolest thing in the game, I thought, was that whole sort of dungeon crawl thing that Minoru Kawa gets into with all of those cats and everything. It was really cool, and then the payoff was shit. It just says congratulations, but it doesn't affect... I thought we would get like an awesome bad ending or something. But then it just like intersects back with his regular game path. There was like no... The payoff for that was super disappointing, especially because you have to invest so much time. You can't skip ahead in the dialogue even after you read it 5 times. Wow. So that's, yeah, that's surprising. It wasn't really a shortcut though. It wasn't really. The time it takes to talk to the henchman outside is shorter. I mean, in general. Yeah. All right, so I think we're going to call it there. I mean, I think I already went above and beyond by getting all the bad ends. I'm not going to do the, 4 or 5 hours of bonus content, which is also seems like it's just pure reading. I might be crazy, but I'm not that crazy. Even I have my limits. Oh, got it. And yeah, but then then you'd have to see the whole ending again too. Yeah, that's crazy. Oh yeah. Okay, cool. Well, thank you, Nico. Yeah, game's better than I thought. The overall production value was a lot better than I had anticipated, which I enjoyed. Music was actually really good. I didn't point out. I mean, at times actually it was like, especially there at the end, it was way over the top. But I don't blame the composer for that because I'm sure they were asked to do that. And like some of the suspenseful tracks that you heard throughout the game at various points were actually like legitimately good. And I love like the opening too, the helicopter footage above Shibuya. That was like great. So it really gets you sort of like pumped up in the mood for the game. The writing was kind of like hit or miss. Obviously, there were like a bunch of typos. It was over the top and stuff. But I felt generally, and I say this legit, like genuinely speaking, like whenever there were like suspenseful time, like, they did a good job with what they had at their disposal, the style of the game to ratchet it up. So, yes, there was a lot of hippo pain throughout this, but it was nothing like Phoenix Wright, which I found very little to be redeeming there. There was a lot I did like about it. It's still not my style of game, but I kind of enjoyed at least like piecing things together and trying to get all the bad ends and everything. It was kind of cool to see. They definitely put a lot of work into it. Yeah, I can't see how I would play this, like choose to play this casually myself. But interesting enough. So thanks again, Nico, for the pick. We'll head now to our... Oh, let's give out... Man, so this game took 48 hours. So we got to give out 48 Cedrics there at the end, and we'll head to our Hall of Adventure bookshelf or bookcase number 2. Add game 287 428 Shibuya Scramble and put it up on the shelf.